Dr. Ben Merkle is with us. He's the president of New St. Andrews College. Ben, how are you, sir?
I'm well. Thanks so much for having me on.
How much heat did you get for that?
It's gotten considerable. We had our mayor pretty upset at us and say something in a local paper. And we've had, but to be honest, actually, I have to say the positive response has been outweighed by about 95% to 5%, because I think a lot of people are so sick of being told that they're racist because they don't support BLM. And I think that we were able to say what a lot of people sort of intuitively felt, but weren't hearing anybody articulate it clearly.
And who came up with this idea? Whose brainchild was this? And
our marketing team here, we've got some friends that we hired to put this together, but they're all graduates from our college.
So I've never heard of New St. Andrews College. You're in, of all places, Moscow, Idaho, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're the other Moscow. Yeah, we're a very small private Christian college in North Idaho. So a very small little school. So it's understandable. A lot of people don't know about our existence.
And how long have you been around?
We started in 1994. We grew out of the classical Christian education movement. It started in 1980, and then we're a college that tends to pull from kids who have done classical Christian education.
So, Ben, we're looking at our colleges now, and none of them seem to have a spine. I mean, I just told the audience about Penn State, where they took conservative off of the "you're welcome here" because of backlash from their students and faculty. What's really happening to our university system, and do we survive this?
Well, I think we could survive it, but it would take a really bold change for us to do it. I mean, I don't think Americans, we complain a lot as conservatives about what we see as the deep state, this sort of unelected mechanism that seems to run our country but can't be held accountable. And I don't think we realize how much education is the ultimate deep state, both K-12 and also colleges. The faculty and staff of most colleges, including your Christian colleges, are dominated by progressive left ideology. Mm-hmm. Every teacher votes Democrat. It's really total how much the left has taken over education. And I think that's why, I was listening to your show earlier and you were talking about how swiftly everything seems to have changed. But I think that's because we have slowly had basically an entire generation indoctrinated in a way that we didn't really realize was happening. And now we're seeing the fruition of it. But it's also, there are other elements in education. I think that the way education is funded is a big part of it. The federal money has such big strings that are attached to it and steer you in terms of your ideology. And then the way accreditation and other things like that work, it really cultivates a leadership class that is all about demonstrating compliance. Like you're not going to see college administration make any kind of bold move because they got there by demonstrating compliance over decades and decades of their professional life. So they're allergic to those kinds of decisions.
It's also unreasonable to think that a school system funded by a federal government is going to teach don't trust a federal government, don't trust the government. Right. You have to think independently. You have to think for yourself. There's no way. How we expected that to happen is beyond me.
Yeah.
But they haven't been teaching that for a long time.
Yeah, all real true government begins with self-government. It has to start there, and then your own self-discipline, your own self-government, then makes possible other real government. But yeah, our institutions really depend on compliance with a larger state. So that's not going to be something that they're going to inculcate in our students.
For the person who is thinking, well, I got to send my kid to college, and they're going into college this this fall, what do you say to that parent?
I think you've got to ask some hard questions. I think that a lot of parents, they have the impression that, okay, I know that the colleges are generally liberal, but they remember going to the college in the 80s and the 90s, and they remember bumping up against those kinds of things, and they assume that everybody's talking about the same kind of college that they went to, and they don't realize how radically transformed the college campus is. It's nothing like what we went through. So you need to ask some hard questions, and I think that I'm torn because I go back and forth. On the one hand, people are paying exorbitant amounts of money for an education that gives them no real education whatsoever and hardly any actual professional skills. And so in a lot of ways, I see the movement for we'll just go to a trade school and learn a trade. That's a much quicker way to get into a job and to avoid the debt and the indoctrination. But at the same time, the reason why we're at the place that we are right now, it's not because we haven't learned how to employ professional skills. It's because we haven't learned how to think.
Yep.
And I think
exactly
that
right.
we need to reprioritize critical thinking at the college level, because that's what we have lost. And now we're not. It's not that we can't get a job. It's that we have destroyed our entire economy.
Well, you can't learn to think from wokey McWokeface, as your ad put it. You can't learn critical thinking if you are told there are things that you can't think, can't say, and things are bad. I mean, I don't understand how academia doesn't realize they have become the old church in the Dark Ages, where we'll lock you in a tower if you disagree with us. That's what's happening to us now, and they don't seem to see that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has to do with just that ultimate rejection, the rejection of ultimate truth. So when you reject ultimate truth, and what you have, everybody reverts to their own personal truth. And then what happens is that you're dominated by personal emotion. And so, if you try to interact with somebody at a BLM protest, you're not going to get an actual argument. What you'll get is them sort of vomiting up their emotion, because that's what they've been trained thinking is. But in the traditional West, we understood that there was a transcendent truth that we all answered to, and argument was about understanding these transcendent principles that we then looked to apply consistently in our lives and in how we treated others. And that's where logic comes from. That's where philosophy comes from. That's where theology comes from. So you have this larger transcendent truth that you live under, and it provides the kind of cultural success that the West has had for millennia. But they're rejecting all of that, and so all they can do is burn it down.
We're talking to Dr. Benjamin Merkle. He's the president of New St. Andrews College. I'm going to just want to spend a couple more minutes with him here after 60 seconds. We're going to break for 60 seconds here. Let me tell you about Real Estate Agents I Trust. If you are looking to sell your house, you need probably all sorts of things to be done. Do you know who the best carpenter is to call? How about the best carpet guy, the best plumber? Somebody who specializes just in moving dirt, since you have some erosion in the backyard. That has to be addressed. Who does all of those things in your town? Do you know anyone that does that? Well, here's the answer to this. You don't need to know all those people. You need a real estate agent that knows all of those people. When you're working with one of the real estate agents I trust, then the answer is that person, that one person. Real Estate Agents I Trust. Free service to you. The agents who work with us are the best of the best. They know the best practices, and they're going to work hard for you. Get your house sold on time and for the most amount of money. And if you're moving, find the right area for you. It's Real Estate Agents I Trust. The name says it all. RealestateAgentsITrust.com. RealestateAgentsITrust.com. 10 seconds, station ID. Dr. Benjamin Merkle is the president of the new St. Andrews College in Moscow, Idaho. Worth your consideration. What is your tuition?
We'll be at about a little over $13,000, $13,500 this next year.
Per semester?
Nope, for the year. And we do not take any government money, so no student loans, no Pell Grants. We didn't take any of the PPP money either. So we reject the federal money, but I think in rejecting the federal money, you actually make your college more affordable because you step out of a whole bunch of bureaucracy and everything that inflates the cost of the college.
So, 1619 Project. Oprah Winfrey now is going to be doing a new movie, and a new film and TV series on the 1619 Project. That's in our schools. We have Black Lives Matter coming to our schools now. How do we fight this as a parent?
I think that the thing you have to do is that you have to take education seriously. This is what they are inflicting upon you. But as a parent, you have the ability to make actual decisions about the kind of education your kids are getting. There are private schools, there's homeschooling, there's ways to get involved with your local school board. And we need to actually stand up and retake this ground instead of passively just sort of rolling over and letting this happen again and again and again.
If we don't do that, if we just continue to take it, we're lost, aren't we?
Oh, it's all over. Absolutely. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, and that's what the teachers have been. That's why I think education is the ultimate deep state. And if we want, culture is something that you pass on to the next generation. But that handoff point where the baton is passed to the next runner, that's happening in the schools. And we take our hands off that and we hand it over to somebody whose ideology is opposed to us, and then we're surprised when our children are joining the BLM movements and these revolts. I think it's just really sad seeing, particularly within the Christian world, how many of the next generation have been trained to hate everything that their parents stood for, and their parents didn't even notice that it was happening.
Quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. And I think you will agree that Christians and those who believe in the Judeo-Christian values of our country had better stand up because I don't think we have much time left if we don't. And that is a weird thing to say and to, for the first time in my career, kind of be provable. I could back up all of my statements of what was coming, but it still seemed like a stretch. America not having much more time if we don't stand up seems very realistic to, I think, a lot of people now.
I think that's absolutely true.
Dr. Benjamin Merkle, president of New St. Andrews College. The website is nsa.edu. nsa.edu. Thanks very much for standing up and being a little bit of light in a vast sea of darkness. Thanks.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.